BluePrint Pro Wrestling here in Deerfield Beach in South Florida at the DS SportsPlex. Great amount of talent on the show, and making her second appearance for BluePrint Pro is the Dream Girl Ellie.
It's me.
Dream Girl Ellie, so how did you get your start in pro wrestling and what attracted you to this business?
Gosh, I get this question sometimes and I don't really know how to answer it, even though it's the same story. I have 3 brothers, and we grew up being aggressive, because that's kind of how you have to be when you have a bunch of brothers. So I never did any girly things. It was always just go outside and play with them, because who else was I supposed to hang out with? So they
Football, basketball.
Yeah, it was literally the football, the basketball, the baseball, the everything. I got beat up more times than I could count. But then again, it kind of worked out in the long run. But I will never thank them for it. But I walked in on my older brothers watching Raw one day, and I was just like, what in the world are you watching? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I sat down and started watching it, and I was like, this is getting weirder and weirder. And none of it makes sense, because it was all the storylines were happening. And I was like, this is super weird, because it was right before WrestleMania too, so it was where everything tied in. And I was so confused. So I kind of watched for another 2-3 weeks, and I was like, okay. I watched WrestleMania, and I was like, alright, this is actually kind of cool. This is kind of entertaining, and I enjoyed it. So then I kept watching every week, and within 6 months to a year of watching it, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be a wrestler. I was 13. In my head, I'm like, once I turn 18, I'm gonna become a wrestler. And at first, I told my dad. He was like, yeah, no, you're not. He's like, you never believe a 13-year-old when you say what you're going to listen. Growing up, I was going to be a teacher, a baker, an FBI agent. I was going to be in the SWAT team. I was going to be a police officer. So being a wrestler was just another random thing that I was going to be. So 5 years go by. I'm still in my mindset. Once I turn 18, I'm going to be a wrestler. I was looking up schools before I could turn 18 to be a wrestler. Nothing happened. Turned 18, started wrestling school, and a year later, I had moved up to Tampa and stuff, and I had just started working shows.
Where were you originally before Tampa?
I was originally in Fort Myers. So then I moved up to Tampa.
Naples Lely High School? Fort Myers High?
I actually went to Charlotte High. Technically it was Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda area, but it was right on that line type thing. But I moved up to Tampa and trained with Matt Sydal. He's one of the coolest laid-back people you'll ever meet. He's freaking genius. He's amazing. And I actually had met Blanco. I had met Blanco and Joey at a ACW show before when my brother was refereeing, but then he stopped doing that. But I had to take him because I was older sister. That's kind of how it worked. So I had met them, and I was like, these guys are. I don't like these guys. I'm never gonna be friends with them. Joey scared me, 110%. I was like, this dude is freakish. He had long hair, and he was super British at the time. He's kind of lost the accent, but he was super British at the time. And I was like, this dude's terrifying. Blanco, I was not a big fan of Blanco. I was just like, oh, never talking to you. You were not a person I want to be around. And I working shows, and we all had blue gear, and I already had mine. And they got the new gear, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, you guys are gonna steal my gear colors. I was like, that's not very nice of you. And they kind of made a joke, and they're like, oh, well, I guess you can start balleting for us. Weeks go by, I didn't think anything about it. We're at an ACW show, and Joey's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? We're going to Alabama. Do you want to jump in the car with us? And I was like, oh, sure. Didn't think anything was going to happen. I ended up being a manager for him and valeting for him. It kind of worked because the gear match. So I was like, oh, cool. So then I started riding with them week and week after. Some shows I would just do nothing on, which wasn't a big deal because I was still out there and traveling. And then there were some shows I would manage for them. And then I got to start working my own shows. And within a couple months of I want to say 2 or 3 months, I was like, hey, I'm international superstar now, right? And they're like, no, you're not. And I was like, oh, okay, well, can I be? They're like, no. So they were not a big fan about me joining. But Blanco recently told me that it was because I had to prove myself to be worthy of the group, which I don't really know how I actually did that still. It's blowing my mind that I pulled this off. But we ended up like I ended up joining them a couple months later and stuff, and now there was 3 of us, and we were traveling, and we were partying. We were not literally partying because I'm like 12, but by partying, I literally we were traveling and wrestling. But we were having a blast. We were traveling, going all over the country and stuff. And Zach Cooper has known Blanco his like entire life, pretty much. Not literally, because they're both really young and stuff, but still, they've known him a long time. And Zach was like, "Can I be an international superstar? Can I be an international superstar?" And Blanco was like, "No." And I was like, "What do you have against people joining this group?" So he's like, "You have to prove yourself to be in the group." And that's where it kind of clicked in my head. I was like, "Oh, that's why I couldn't join before." So then it was funny because Blanco was like messing with Zach, but he was gonna let him join. But he would like every time Zach would ask, he's like, "Can I join?" He's like, "No." He's like, "It's never gonna happen." So he ended up joining him after a couple weeks and stuff, and now there's 4 of us, and we all just, it's so weird because we are 4 different people. I am a 5'2" female. I wrestled dudes before, but I'm a female. Like that, I'm not big and scary. Zach, on the other hand, is like 6 something, and he's big and scary, but he can flip, and he chops really hard, so stay away from those. Joey's got the British stuff going on. I don't really know how to describe that other than he's British.
I think that describes it in itself.
It's Blanco's just Blanco. You can't really explain that one either.
He's the chief. He's the head of everything, so.
He's a psychopath. He is crazy. His best friend is a Pikachu. I'm not even joking. His entire house is filled with Pikachu, and I don't know. It's creepy. I hate them. I hate all of them. I do not understand Pokemon. He keeps trying to like get me to play Pokemon Go. No, never gonna happen.
You seem more like a Call of Duty girl.
Yeah, because it's aggressive and like, you know, I'm an aggressive person. I'm 5'2", like I said. I'm short. I have a lot of things to be angry about, but he's just crazy. He's literally what he's crazy, and all 4 of us, all 4 different styles, they just morph into this group. And it works. Don't get me wrong, we like butt heads with each other, and I've tried fighting all of these guys before. They've all tried fighting each other. It's a giant dysfunctional family, but somehow it works. I don't know how. I don't think anyone knows how. I don't think anyone's gonna find out how, because we don't know how. But it works. And that's the coolest part to me, because it's so different. You get 4 different styles when you get a group of people. And they're dumb, and I love them. But don't tell me I said that.
And you mentioned Blanco, so with that, you start off saying like, "Oh, this guy, I don't know about him." But now he's actually designing the ring gear.
This one, we just got this one like 2 or 3 days before this show, and this one's Aquaman inspired, because all of our gear is inspired by something. So we have.
Oh, you're a Jason Momoa fan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I'm kidding. No, this one is like OG Aquaman, because we were gonna do different colors, and I was like, no, morph these colors together. And then the other one we have that looks like this is black and blue with like a gray, and it's Tron. We have a purple set, which it's purple and green. I have to like figure this out in my head, which is Joker. And then we have like a yellow and green and black, which is Power Rangers. And there's probably a lot more that I'm completely forgetting about.
Do you have a favorite?
I love the yellow one. The yellow and there's just something about the bright obnoxiousness of it that just makes me love it, because I think that's kind of how I am. Other than the bright part, I'm not sure about. I'm a wrestler. We can't be that bright. But
well, the yellow's like a big Pikachu.
Oh, now I don't like it. See, why would you do that?
I'm sorry, because you mentioned you didn't like Pikachu, and then I thought yellow, and I thought, oh.
He tried to get like a yellow in red and black, and I was just like, oh, what's this one? He said Pika, and I was like, no.
So this yellow is totally different. We have to say that. We'll preface it that way.
Yeah, it's like it's neon. You put it under a black light and it glows. And I didn't know that until I accidentally walked under a black light, and I was like, oh my, like I was like, it's glowing. And then I had to take a bunch of pictures because no one would believe me. And then I posted it, and I was like, guys, this stuff glows. I was like, I don't know how. I get amused by really like simple things. So like gear glowing is, especially when we didn't do it on purpose. It's just crazy. It's just
Well, those
works.
sneakers that when those kids step and all of a sudden they
Yes.
light up, those are really right. Things like that are really
Yes,
cool.
Exactly. You're just like, it's because it's not an ordinary, like our gear. Don't get me wrong, there are people with like crazy gear, but I always think like our gear is so, it's different. Especially for a female with me, because I wear tights, there's not many girls that wear tights. And I've kind of realized that, because I was like, oh, I'm going to get shorts, I'm going to do a one piece, and then I was like, actually, like, it's kind of what everybody does. So if I did tights, and I got the cool design on them, then I'm golden type thing. Literally? No. But it's just, I don't know, it's just different, and that's kind of how I want to be. You can't be the same person.
It is
as
different,
everyone else.
and it is unique, and that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah.